Give me that. Can your stupid big head father afford it? Let me see your hand inside my fridge again.
How can a woman give birth to only 2 children, hated one daughter because her father was poor, and loved the other because her father was rich? Let me take you to the beginning of the story, where it all started. Linda was amongst the hottest girls in the university. She was very beautiful. Not the loud type, but the kind of beauty that made heads turn without effort. She dressed well, spoke softly, and always smelled nice. Men noticed her easily, and she enjoyed the attention. Linda never stayed with one man for long. When one got boring, she moved to another. To her, relationships were not about love. They were about comfort and how much cash she got. Linda studied at a busy university campus. Beside the university gate was a small provision store owned by a man named Mark. Mark has been doing that business for a long time now. Linda was one of her regular customers. She always bought necessities from him, and sometimes Mark would give her free items. Mark loved Linda. One day, Mark told Linda how he felt. He said he had been watching her for a long time and wanted her to be his girlfriend. Linda did not answer immediately. She smiled and told him she would think about it. 2 days later, she returned to the shop and told him she agreed. Not because she loved him. Linda saw an opportunity. Being with Mark meant free provisions, money when she needed it, and someone to solve problems for her. Mark was happy and started doing more for her. He gave her money, paid for some of her needs, and never complained. 2 months passed. Linda became pregnant. Anger filled her heart. This was not part of her plan. She never planned to get pregnant for Mark or anyone. She went to Mark's shop that same day and told him. Mark was surprised, then happy. He thanked Linda again and again. Linda watched his reaction and felt annoyed. She told him she wanted to remove the pregnancy. Mark begged her. Please don't do it, he said. I promise to take care of you, and give you anything you want. I will stand by you and would never abandon you or my child. After days of begging, Linda agreed to keep the baby. From that moment, her demands increased. Every day she went to the provision store and took things without checking prices. Her room was always full of food, drinks, snacks, and groceries. Sometimes she took things she did not need and shared them with her friends and neighbors. People praised her generosity, not knowing it was destroying Mark's business. She started living big. She went out with friends often. She bought expensive clothes. And when it comes to her baby, she chooses only costly baby items. Slowly, Mark's shop began to suffer. Goods reduced faster than money came in. Mark started borrowing small amounts to refill the shop. He was tired, but he kept quiet. One day, Mark gently told Linda that things were getting hard. He said they needed to reduce expenses so the business could survive. Linda became angry. She reminded him that she never asked to be pregnant. You promised to take care of me, she said. If you tired, tell me, so I can remove the pregnancy. Mark panicked. He apologized immediately and begged her to forgive him, and said he would find a way. Linda continued her lifestyle. Months passed. She gave birth to a baby girl. Linda organized a big welcoming party. Music, food, decorations, everything was perfect. Mark borrowed money from the bank to sponsor the party. He did not want trouble. He wanted peace. For a short while, Linda was happy. 2 months after the baby was born, the provision store finally collapsed. Shelves became empty. Debts grew. Mark had nothing left to borrow. And that was the beginning of Linda's hatred for her daughter. After the provision store collapsed, life changed completely. Mark started doing odd jobs to take care of Linda and the baby. Some days he carried blocks at construction sites. Other days he helped people load goods or clean shops. Whatever work he found, he did it. All he wanted was to satisfy Linda and the baby. But Linda was never satisfied. Every day she complained. She grumbled from morning till night. What kind of life is this, she would say. What even made me give birth with a man like this? Mark tried his best. Whatever money he made, he brought it home. Sometimes it was small, sometimes it was nothing. Linda never appreciated it. To her, nothing Mark did was enough. 2 months later, Linda told Mark she was tired. She said she could not sit at home taking care of his baby while he went out every day and came back with nothing. She told him she wanted to go out and look for a job because she could not cope with the new lifestyle. Mark was confused. He asked her how that would work. I also have things doing outside, he said. How can I stay at home with the baby while you go out? Linda got angry. She asked him what his so-called jobs were even doing for them. It is better you stay at home, she said, than going out every day and returning empty-handed. If you refuse, she continued, I will leave the baby alone in the house and go look for my job. I need to better my life. Mark was shocked. After thinking about it, he agreed. He could not risk the baby being left alone. From that day, Mark stayed at home with the baby. Every morning when Mark came by, Linda would pack both her clothes and the baby's clothes together. She would give him the clothes and tell him to wash them when the baby sleep. This is the only thing you can do for me, apart from this. You are useless to me. Mark swallowed the words. He washed clothes. He cooked food. He carried the baby on his back while doing small jobs around the area. He bathed the baby, fed her, and stayed awake at night when she cried. He did everything without complaining. 2 weeks later, Linda started going out with a rich married man, who spent money on her freely. She began coming home late. Sometimes she smelled of expensive perfume. She wore better clothes again. Money started appearing in her bag. And Mark noticed. One day, he followed her and saw her enter a car with a well-dressed man. Mark confronted her one evening. Linda, he said quietly, how can you ask me to stay at home with the baby while you go out to flirt with other men? You are not even hiding it. You are rubbing it in my face. I don't want to see you with that man again. Linda laughed. It was not a happy laugh. It was mocking. Who are you to tell me how to live my life? She said. Look at you, giving orders. As who? She shook her head and smiled. Please, Mark. You have no use for me. Just focus on taking care of your daughter. I cannot pause my life for you and your daughter. Mark stood there quietly. He held the baby closer. Months passed, and Linda became pregnant again. This time, the pregnancy was not for Mark. It was for the rich married man she had been seeing. The man was happy. He took good care of her. He bought her expensive clothes, sent her money often, and later rented a bigger apartment for her in a better area. Linda's life changed completely, and she used the new life to insult Mark whenever she saw him. This is how real men take care of their women, she would say. Not men who only have sweet mouths but empty pockets. Mark said nothing. Linda no longer cared about the baby she had with Mark. She ignored her cries. She did not cook for her or wash her clothes. The baby was always dirty and hungry unless Mark showed up. Every day, Mark came early. He cooked food for the baby. He washed her clothes. He bathed her carefully. He carried her on his back and went out to do odd jobs. In the evening, when he closed work, Mark would bring the baby back and give her to Linda. Early in the morning, he would return again because he knew Linda would not care for the child. The baby grew used to Mark's voice and touch. Months later, Linda gave birth again. It was a baby girl. The rich man named the child Teresa. He organized a grand welcoming party. The house was full of people, music, food, and expensive gifts. Everyone congratulated Linda. She smiled proudly and moved around like a queen. That day, Mark came quietly. He took his daughter Talia and left the house before the party started. He stayed away with her until everything was over. When the guests had left and the noise had died down, Mark brought Talia back. 15 years later, Talia and Teresa were both in secondary school. Talia was in Form 5. Teresa was in Form 3. They did not attend the same school. Talia went to a government school, while Teresa attended a private school. Teresa's father paid for everything. New books, new bags, neat uniforms. Life at home was different for the two girls. Talia did all the house chores. She swept the house, washed plates, and cleaned the toilets. Teresa did nothing. She sat around like a princess, watching television and scrolling through her phone. Whenever Talia complained to her mother, Linda responded with harsh words. "Poor man peekin' no day complain," she would say. Every weekend, Linda took Teresa out. Shopping malls, nice food, new clothes. Talia always stayed at home. Mark noticed everything. He did not like the way his daughter was being treated. Any little money he got from his odd jobs, he used it to buy something for Talia. Sometimes it was a biscuit, sometimes a simple dress. Linda always mocked him. "That is the only thing a poor man can give his child," she said, laughing. "Your mates are out there hustling. You are here playing father role with empty pockets. And to think you wanted me to suffer with you." She would end it with a sound of disgust. "Pooah. I pour you spit, Mark." Mark stayed quiet. If Talia felt hungry and went to the fridge to take something, Linda would rush out and seize it from her hand. "Can your father afford this?" she would shout. "Let me see your hand inside this fridge again." She pointed at Talia angrily. "If you are not happy that I am letting you stay here, you can leave. Touch my things again without permission and I will send you to go stay in the slum with your poor father." Talia learned to stay silent. But one day, after holding everything inside for a long time, Talia gathered courage. She stood before her mother and spoke softly. "Mummy," she asked, "why do you hate me like this? Is it my fault that my father is poor?" Linda looked at her and frowned. "Leave my side," she said coldly. Imitating her, "Is it my fault that my father is poor?" Talia turned and walked away quietly. Years later, both Talia and Teresa entered the university. This was the first time Linda allowed the two girls to attend the same school. She rented a single room for both of them. Her reason was simple. Talia would cook, clean, and wash Teresa's clothes, just like she had always done at home. At school, the two sisters were very different. Talia stayed calm. She attended her lectures, read her books, and minded her business. Her only goal was to finish school and make her father proud. While Teresa joined a group of girls who called themselves Slay Queens. She rarely attended lectures. She moved from one party to another, wearing expensive clothes and spending money freely. Her life was loud and careless. Time passed. Talia graduated with a first-class honor. Soon after, she got a job as a secretary in an oil company. Her salary was good. When she received her first salary, she did not buy fancy things. She rented a small house for her father and opened a small provision store for him so he could manage his life better. Mark was proud of her. Months later, the CEO's son of the company, Elvis, returned from abroad. The first time he saw Talia at the office, he noticed her immediately. He liked her calm nature and simple ways. They started talking, then dating. Talia told no one. She did not tell her mother. She did not tell Teresa. Elvis was not the first rich man who had shown interest in her. Before him, two rich men had come into her life, but both times, her mother and sister ruined it. Linda wanted Teresa to marry them instead because they were rich. Talia did not want that to happen again. One day, Elvis proposed to her. Talia was happy and said yes. Elvis wanted wedding plans to start immediately, but Talia was afraid. She knew her mother. If Linda found out that Elvis was the CEO's son, she would cause trouble. So Talia came up with an idea. She asked Elvis to pretend to be a poor man. She told him not to come with a car and not to show his status. Elvis was surprised and asked why, but Talia only told him to trust her. The day came. Elvis dressed simply and came with his people quietly. When Linda saw them, she laughed bitterly. "Like father, like daughter," she said to Talia. "I won't blame you. Look at the kind of man you brought home. Anyway, you are the one that will stay with him. What is my business?" Talia said nothing. Elvis and Talia did a very simple traditional wedding. There was no noise and no show. After that, they planned to do the church wedding in 2 months' time. Linda did not care. Or so it seemed. 1 week after Talia's traditional wedding, something happened that shocked everyone. Teresa's father was arrested for fraud. The news was everywhere. When Linda saw it on television, she screamed and collapsed. People rushed to help her. When she regained consciousness, the first thing she did was try to call his phone. It was not reachable. She dressed up quickly and went to the police station. When she got there, she was not allowed to see him. His wife was already there, and everything was in confusion. The case went to court. After the trial, Teresa's father was found guilty. The court sentenced him to 20 years in prison. Life changed immediately. Linda had no savings. She had no business. Everything she enjoyed before disappeared. Teresa's lifestyle came to a sudden stop. There was no more shopping, no more parties, and no more money. They struggled. 2 months later, it was time for Talia's church wedding. A big hall was rented. The decorations were beautiful. Everything looked expensive. When Linda and Teresa arrived, they were confused. They thought they had come to the wrong wedding. But when the usher showed them their seats, they were shocked. The wedding went smoothly. There was plenty of food and drinks. Everything was well organized. It was then Linda realized the truth. Talia did not marry a poor man. And she also heard some guests saying Talia's husband was the son of the CEO of the oil company. Late in the evening, Linda pulled Talia aside. Her voice was low. She apologized for all the insults. For the way she treated her. For the years of pain. Talia listened quietly. "I forgive you," she said. "You are my mother. I cannot hold grudges against you." She paused and added softly, "But we cannot be close. I am moving out of the country with my husband and my father." Teresa later apologized too and asked if she could come and spend some time in Talia's house before she traveled. Talia said no. After the wedding, Talia relocated abroad with her husband and her father. As for her mother and sister, she did not know if they would ever be close again. She hoped time would heal her wounds. Moral lesson. Life can change at any time. The people you look down on today may be the ones standing tomorrow.